Hey guys, this is the real 8-Town aka RGB Fox, and today we have a Geargia deck profile. Why did it take so long? I haven't played Geargia. I barely took it to the local tournament this week. 28 players, got second place, lost to Oscar in the finals after he clapped me up in Swiss. So yeah, I guess I was just never beating him. But overall, the deck performed relatively well. My matchups, I believe I had, let's see, I played against Evil Swarm round 1, I played against HAT round 2, yeah, HAT round 2, Sylvan round 3, round 4 was another HAT, played against Infernity round 5, in top 4 I played Lightsworn Ruler, and in finals was Oscar again with Sylvan. So yeah, he's going to be uploading those videos soon, so shout out to Oscar for winning. But yeah, here I'm going to go ahead and display what I played. The side deck was kind of odd, but you know, nothing too harsh, right? So we'll get there when we get there. For the main monsters, right, we're gonna start with triple armor, standard, triple arsenal, standard, and triple accelerator, standard. We also have 3 Mark IIs rather, and the Geargiano. The lineup is as standard as it can get. There's nothing really more to say here. This is also standard. Many Geargia players are opting to play 2 to 3 DD Crow in main and triple Maxi. This helped a lot against my Infernity matchup, just having these in the main deck. And I don't think that if you're playing Geargia, you should move away from playing this. So this is standard. Next up, the hands. As with like any Geargia matchup, your matchup against HAT is like always going to be good, but why not make it easier? And this also can take care of problematic cards, right? When people think that they're going to, you know, have you play into like a nobleman a crossout, or maybe they think that they could just pop your monster that's face down without any consequences. These help a lot. Next, for these spells, I played 2 MSTs. Never needed any more, so I think 2 in the main is fine, but you could find room for 3. 2 Soul Charge, perfect number, and Dark Hole. We want to blow out, you know, big monster decks if possible. Next up, for the traps, triple Phoenix Chain. This, you know, is also in tandem with double Breakthrough Skill in the main. If you have space, you could definitely play 3 because honestly, it's well worth it. This deck, if it goes first, can get blown out by by Exciton, and so you want as much effect negation as possible. That way, in the following turn, you're able to pop off. And if it's breakthrough, it's even better because if they do make an Exciton and it stays on board, which more than likely it will, you're able to use this on your following turn, and they will not be able to respond. So yeah, that's, you know, it for that. Obviously, the 3 gear, you want to see it, so you play 3. Double wiretap. This is especially good because, you know, regardless if you have a good matchup with the HAT decks, Artifact Moral Tech is still going to be your worst enemy. So this is to mainly stop Sanctums and stuff like that. You're not really worried about cards like Bottomless or Trapture Trample Nightmare, because especially if you have the level 3s under the Geargia, the moment it gets removed from the field, you get to get 1 back, assuming you are not missing the timing, right? So yeah, no, wiretap is great. And the best part about this deck is like, when you go against trap decks, if you know you can just keep playing through the back row, you can always hold this for the most important one that you require. So yeah. Solemn Warning, though, is the next card along with Bottomless and TT. And that's about it. Next up, for the extra deck, it's about as standard as you can have it, with a lot of utility. And the first that, you know, you start with is, of course, 3 Geargia Cross, or Geargia X, whatever you want to name it, right? Standard, Honor Arc, Abyss Dweller, Exciton, Diamond Dyer, the Gusto Emerald, number 50, number 80, number 103, For the rank 3s, we play one Alucard, a number 30 Soul of Silver Mountain, which is as standard as it can be, along with Zen mains. The XC's lineup maybe could use some tweaking. You know, you could perhaps find a route in which you can go for a Cowboy, but I think each of these cards serve their purposes. Against Mermail, you have a bad matchup, so you play the Abyss Dweller. Exciton and Honor Arc are standard. Diamond Dyer can help against Floodgates, right? Daigusto Emerald, great card, right? No one's going to debate that, especially if you're in a grind game, being able to shuffle your monsters back and utilize them for later. Oh my god. Black Ship, number 80. I mean, all of these, like, you know, the explanations are far and few between. You should know why you play those, right? So next up for the side deck. The side deck is what's most iffy, but I'll still run through it. One DD Crow, if we play 2 in the main, of course. Cycle Reader, we can search it, it's a machine, and so yeah. D-Fissure, very strong card, especially with the fact that you just keep XC summoning. You're likely to not miss any monsters, but you definitely have to be careful in which matchup and how you play this card. Otherwise, you will get blown out by it on your own because you start losing resources, right? MST, right, the third one. Mind Control, it's great. You take in a level 4, you go off, or level 3. For the traps, we play Triple Debunk. This is great overall. Hits hands, hits Mermails, hits the Atlantean cards if they have nothing to chain block it. It hits so much that it's so worth being able to utilize it. This can also negate Honest and Crane. You know, you're playing against Boojins. I mean, you know, there's so many utilities. I think the main reason, and I found this out yesterday, that I definitely like the bunk is to stop Flying Seed. If you get Flying Seed and you don't have a position to be able to remove it, you want to at least prevent it, and so the bunk is great for that reason. Blackhorn, it didn't come up much yesterday. It can, but I never saw it all day, so I might even cut that for something else, but who knows. The last Wiretap, this also was iffy. I found myself siding out the Wiretaps depending on the matchup, so it's only really good going first because you're likely to see more of them against something like HAT, but you know. Anyways, next up we have Macrocosmos, we have Soul Drain, we have Light Imprisoning Mirror, and lastly we have Needle Sealing. The Light Imprisoning, I kind of want to bump it to 2. This card is great. Soul Drain may, and Macro, and D-Fissure, they'll all, you know, be problematic if you have it in tandems with the hands. But the thing is that you shouldn't really be having those cards with the hands to begin with. So, like, you know, you play these in matchups where you know you don't have to play the hands, right? And at that point, these become even stronger as a result. What will suck though is that you will not be able to trigger cards like Geargia, you know, when it leaves the field, unless it's banished. But if you have Soul Drain, then you can't even do that. And Accelerate, I'm pretty sure has to go to the graveyard. Yep, it has to go to the grave, and even if it goes to grave, if you have Soul Drain up, you can't recur with his effect. But ultimately, you should be able to play around it. So yeah, that is my deck for Geargia. It's about as standard as you can find. You know, you could go on Format Library and legitimately find those as well. Now, here is something that I want to say. For some reason, I've started to hear that this deck is the Blackwings of HAT format. People are tripping. This deck isn't nearly as dominant as Blackwings is in Edison. Which is a little strange to, like, you know, have to compare the two formats in general. While Geargia is strong in its own right, it has a lot more checks than you know, than Blackwing does in Edison format. So yeah, I have to disagree with that statement. Now, as to my matches, I'll be as brief as possible. Round 1, I played against Evil Swarm. We made it to a game 3. He eradicated me game 2, which was crazy. He called traps, and I just had to deal with it. The funny thing is though is that I didn't draw any more traps after it, so that was cool. Second match was against my friend Ton. He was borrowing my hat deck. He bricked game 3 as well. He bricked game 3 rather. So it was just unfortunate. He drew a lot of artifacts and there was just nothing he can combo with it. The third match was with Oscar. He was playing Sylvans and he completely steamrolled me. There was no game 3 there, I think. I just lost. Game 4 was against my homie Alex. I got the dub, but that's all I'll say to that. Game 5 was against my boy Scott. He was playing Infernity. I won the die roll, so I wasn't really worried about anything. I just set up my field. He did summon Exiton on me, but I had double breakthrough skill, which meant that his lance was just, you know, not doing anything. He had to have 2, and he didn't. So I won that match because I had armor, gear. Game 2 was a little back and forth, but eventually he was able to just come out on top and OTK. Game 3, I had everything I needed. I had Maxi, I had crows, I had traps that were not in danger really of being removed for whatever reason, right? He did exit on me successfully game 3, but all I had was a Phoenix Chain and the Needle Ceiling, and he had Book of Moon for the Phoenix Chain, so my things moved. But the thing is that I had 3 Geargia crosses on the field, and I was able to recur back some level 3. I mean, you know what the deal is. From there, I just aimed to do as much damage as possible against him, and even though he could have popped off afterwards, the fact that I dropped Maxi on him and drew a crow when it mattered is what ended the game there. So shout out to him though. I still wanted to play that matchup, and I'm glad I was able to. He is probably the only other Infernity player aside from this guy Mario, but he doesn't play it that much. And then lastly, top 4. I went against Lightsworn Ruler. I lost a die roll, so I lose game 1. I win game 2. The side deck really helped out a lot. He set 3 though, turn 1, and I was just playing into it. I was thinking maybe there's a torrential, but like if there was, I wasn't really worried about it wholeheartedly. It's like he had to have it. Dealt as much damage as I possibly could, and I was able to secure the game. Game 3, he bricked. He did open double oppression against me. However, he had no engine whatsoever to play with. So that for him was just like I mean, there's no worse thing that you could do than break in that deck, and the fact that it happened, yeah. Shout out to him though. He was a good sport about it. It's just it'll occur. It happens, right? And then the finals against Oscar. Game 1, steamrolled. Game 2, I won. I had to debunk for the Flying Sea, so yeah. And then game 3, maybe if I drew a little bit better, or maybe if I just wasn't so like hard focused against wanting to play around his back row, because he ended up having no back row, I think. Game 3. Game 1 he did though. He had triple vanities. I shuffled one of them back with wiretap, and he still drew them afterwards, which completely stunned me game 1. And I mean, the deck plays it, you know, I can't be mad at it if they play it at 3. And he drew a lot. He was always activating and resolving Charity against me every single turn, so you're bound to see it eventually, right? And I can only be so upset. I play the deck myself. I know how impressive it can be whenever you're able to just cycle through all those cards, right? So shout out to him for winning the tournament. Although I will say I did pull 2 cards from my second place packs. Shout out to Epic Cards and Games. Out of my 8 packs, I pulled an Engraver and this QCR that is pretty ass, but hey, the fact that I got these 2 out of 8 packs, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better turnout. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this deck list. If you have any improvements you would like to make, do let me know. This has been RGB Fox. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.